Abby Dunn, one half of this channel. I have a podcast called Bad with Money. It's about finances and feelings and the freaking system. And this week on the show, we're talking about setting goals. We have Paula Pant from the Afford Anything podcast, who is just like huge in the financial media industry. You probably have heard her show or you've heard her speak. She's incredible. And then we have Franchesca Ramsey, aka Cheska Lee, who is so good at setting goals, like so good. Like if you follow her on Instagram, you can see that she makes these incredible journals all about like her monthly goals. Her advice is, so please check out this clip. And then if you are interested in learning about how to set goals, please go to the link in the description and you can hear the whole episode. It was very helpful for me. It was very helpful for me.
What is FIRE, and then what is your breakdown of FIRE?
So FIRE stands for Financial Independence, Retire Early. And so I'll explain two things. I'll explain sort of traditionally how most people see it, and then how I see it.
Right, yeah, you have your own version.
Exactly. So how most people see it. So financial independence is what people talk about when they talk about having enough money in your investment accounts that you could draw down from your investment accounts and use that to pay for your cost of living. And so a lot of people use this very crude metric where they say, hey, if I have 25 times my annual spending saved invested, then I'm FIRE. And so what that means is if you spend $40,000 a year to maintain your lifestyle, if like that's what you spend in a year, then 40 times 25 is 1 million. So if you have $1 million in investments, then you're FIRE under that definition. Okay. So that's the FI part of FIRE. And then the RE, retire early, is a lot of people are like, well, geez, if I have $1 million and I only need 40 grand a year to like live, I'm quitting my job, you know?
But they have $1 million in investments. That's what's key. Okay.
Right.
Okay.
And so the RE, the retire early, refers to the traditional definition of FIRE, which is that people then say, once my investments hit amount X, this certain threshold, then I'm going to quit my job, and then I may or may not have any income because I don't need it because I can just live off of my portfolio or live off of my investments. So that's the traditional definition of FIRE. I don't like that for a few reasons. There are a couple of things going on with it. First of all, your expenses are going to change every single year of your life. Sometimes higher, sometimes lower. And that's not just, a lot of people hear that and they think, oh, you mean you're going to want nicer things. I mean, maybe, but also your health costs are going to change. The size of your family is going to change. Maybe you'll you'll find a partner or you'll lose a partner. Maybe you'll have a child, or maybe your child will turn 18 and move out.
Maybe you'll have a knee replacement, something,
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe you don't have any pets right now, but 10 years from now, you're going to have 5 dogs, right? So
I wish.
And so your expenses are not static. They're not fixed. And yet the traditional definition of FIRE kind of pretends that they are and doesn't really account for the fact that your costs are going to change. The cost of living is going to change quite a lot. Oh, and we haven't even talked about the fact that prices in the outside world change.
Right.
Gas prices and all of it. And so that's one of the flaws, in my opinion, with the traditional definition of FIRE. One of the other flaws is associating the FI with the RE. The FI refers to having enough money to support yourself conceptually. And the RE refers to one of many possible options that you could pursue once you have enough money to support yourself through your investments.
Right.
Retiring is an option, but it's not the only option.
Right.
And so it doesn't really make sense to me that that the two concepts would become conflated with each other in the same acronym. Why not just focus on the FI part and focus on having enough money through your investments that you could potentially support yourself, or at least support basic bare bones level of existence. Maybe not the ideal lifestyle that you want, but that you could keep the lights on, keep food in the fridge, keep yourself alive if you needed to. Like if for some reason you couldn't work and you had to live on your investments. We live in if you live in the United States, like we live in a country that doesn't really have much of a social safety net.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Yeah. Newsflash.
Oh, yeah.
And so FI, the way that I see it, FI is building a safety net for yourself.
If people feel really overwhelmed by like bigger goals, do you recommend like breaking them down, or how do you
Absolutely.
In what ways can you do that?
Absolutely. I mean, again, I don't think there's anything wrong with dreaming big, but if your goal is to win an Oscar someday, it's like if you don't win an Oscar, that doesn't mean you're a failure.
Exactly.
You also can't win an Oscar tomorrow, right? But like if you want to be in contention for an Oscar, right, then you probably need to be in a movie. Like you can literally work backwards and you can say, well, in order to get nominated for an Oscar, I need to be in a movie. Well, in order to be in a movie, I need to know how to act. Well, in order to know how to act, I need to take an acting class. Cool. I can take an acting class, right? And it's like, I am not getting the Oscar today. I'm working towards the thing that will maybe set me up for an Oscar. P.S. Lots of talented people don't have Oscars,
Don't get
right?
Oscars.
Like,
Yeah.
people make livings off Lifetime movies. Guess what? They not win no Emmys or Oscars. So, like, if you can take
Those are the unsung heroes.
Listen, their lights stay on. I mean, I'm really trying to get myself to a place where I'm like, well, what's the phrase? It's like, perfect is the enemy of good, where you beat yourself up and you're like, I have to be the best. And there's nothing wrong with working as hard as possible, but everybody can't be the best. There has to be somebody who is the quote unquote best, and then people in the middle who are just okay, and then people who are not great at it because it's not the right thing for them. And maybe instead of beating yourself up because you're not the best, take a step back and say, like, is this really the right thing for me? Maybe not. Or I'm okay with just like being okay. It's for me and not for anybody else. And so, again, if it's the win the Oscar or New York Times bestseller list or whatever, those giant goals that you can't immediately control right now, working backwards and kind of like really breaking down all of the elements that are going to lay the foundation to get there might be an easier way for you to not feel as overwhelmed because you're not hitting that big goal.
Right.
And I also think that that's a great way to hopefully shift your perspective. And along the way, you might realize, I don't want to win an Oscar. I want to, I want to be the girl.
I actually like producing.
I actually like producing, or like, I met the costume designer on a short film and now I think I want to do that. Like being open to the possibilities of your dreams and your goals changing.
Totally. Without failure, without being like,
oh
I'm
my
a failure.
gosh, no, absolutely not. And even just like shifting your idea of what quote unquote failure looks like. Like I've had people, and I'm sure you've had this too, where you'll get messages from people that are like, you're a failure because your videos don't do well and you blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I'm a failure according to your measure because you think success is being a big YouTuber, but that's not success for me. Success for me is like being able to pay my rent on time and like living in a place that I really like and a space that I want, having the kinds of friends and relations. Like I have built a life for myself that I'm very proud of. And so your version of success, you're totally allowed to have it, but you can't come up in here and tell me that I'm not successful. Like that's just like, you're not going to do that.
I mean, it's like I try to backtrack, me and Mal too. Like, Mal's a musician. We try to go like, you make money off music. That's your only job.
That's huge.
Music. Huge. I mean, like, 15-year-old you playing for free in a coffee shop would be delighted. So, and even if it's not, I think sometimes we rely too much on being like, you 5 years ago would be so proud of you now, which for a lot of people is not true.
Yeah.
They would be disappointed. But that
or
doesn't
like
mean, but every day is,
yeah.
but it's all like reframing. Or I always think people think, oh, well, it's too late. Like people go, it's too late to start. It's too late to restart. I don't think so.
No, I agree with you.